Okay. It looks like we are live. How is everyone today? Thank you so much for joining me on this Wednesday. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. My name is Jason Levine. And for today's brief live stream, we're going to be talking about a recently updated feature in Premiere Pro 2020. An update to our speed ramping or time remapping feature, which is now you have the ability to increase speed up to 20,000%. And while that number may seem like a ridiculously high, why would I ever need that kind of number? There are many, many cases where you can use this, but really one of the most fundamental ones is if you're trying to do time lapses, and I've got a great example to showcase this because this is something that I endured before. Super long time lapse. Now, previously, I don't even remember what the previous speed cutoff was. I think it was 1,000%. So what would happen is if you had something that was 20 minutes long, trying to get it to 30 seconds, well, you'd go to 1,000% speed, and that wouldn't be enough. So then you'd have to nest that sequence into a new sequence, 1,000% speed up again. That's probably still not enough. Nest again. And it was just a very, very slow process and painful and just kind of unnecessarily complex. Now you can all do it right in the timeline. So I'm going to showcase that to you. As always, lots of people coming to us from in the chat. Great to see you all on this one. Wow, great audience today. Hello, Marco, Juan Santizo. Happy holidays, Turkey Day in the U.S. Yes, to everyone here in the U.S. celebrating. Ronit DX, good evening. Greg Bracco, hey, how you doing? Nuccio Roberto, ciao. Keith Owen, yo, what's up? Yusuf Halicio, hello. Hello, Turkey. I won't be offended. Paolo Marquez from Portsmouth, nice to see you. Paolo Tarini, what's up? Dilly Bat, how are you doing? We've also got, let's see here, and again, I'm doing my thing with this new Colonel Blake here over on Twitter Periscope. And then on the YouTubes, Peter Whiter, live much? Blair Purvis from Melbourne, nice to see you. Peter Britz from South Africa. Oh, hey, Peter, fantastic, because the content I'm showing was shot in South Africa. Perfect, welcome, thank you so much, Hassan Jama. That's awesome. Okay, so give me a second here just to get things kind of rocking. I'm hoping I can see all the comments here. Oh, got to turn that off. Okay. Hopefully I'm going to see all these comments in here. I told you that earlier this week I'm trying out a new thing with commenting, and I think over the holiday, not this holiday, but the Christmas holiday, I'm going to retool all of this because I need to make some changes. Okay. So let me cut over to my screen now. I'll let this stuff go on. All right. Last couple of hellos. Steve Colby, Alex Rydell, Gregors from Poland, Jalson Salas, hello. Matt Ward, Sebastian, Salmon, Chris Pendy, Andres Gonzalez Herrera, how are you doing? Arve Hansen, Ricky De La Rosa. All right. Oh, Dillybat, excited for today. Rock on. Make Kleinert, hello. Stephanie Reed, editing 10 videos before Thanksgiving. Stephanie, you're a machine, I'm convinced. In the best possible way. Sonu G, nice to see you. Gama, all right. Garrison from Los Angeles. Zeno, Gregory, Regina Costa from Brazil. Sonu G, editing Patty. I am very well, thank you very much. Claudio Sandalo, ciao. All right. Abhinav Tripathi. Oh, that's funny. We're watching something else from 2016. That's very cool. All right. Tim Mullen. All right. Heather, how are you? Heather Elman. All right. And Kai Rob from India. Okay. Oh, and many, many more. Wonka, Shirley, Notebon. Woo! All right. So let me go ahead and switch over my screen now. Sorry, you're seeing my back, okay? Studio shot. All right. Where is my screen? There it is. Okay. All right. Long enough. Jeez. Could the guy talk anymore? I know. All right. So, why is it not showing me comments on the iPad? Can someone explain that to me? Here we are inside Premiere Pro with some footage that I shot in South Africa for a shoot with Nikon back in 2012. And this was when they just premiered the D800 and D4 cameras. So I shot this incredible South African sunrise with the D800 with a 400 millimeter f4 lens with an extender. And I think I just had this kind of perched up on a table. This was one of the few shots that was not handheld because I knew it was going to take a while. And if you take a look here, why are we not seeing all the beautiful frames? What? Why did that go away? I want to see all the beautiful head and tail thumbnails. Where did those go? How did that get changed? Oh, it must just be my zoom level. Yeah, you know, sometimes it just looks so much prettier when you can see it all. Okay, it just decided to stop displaying. I don't know why. Okay, so in any case, this entire sequence is about 8 minutes and 26 seconds. So as I scrub through, this will kind of show you the sunrise, all right? And it's beautiful and lovely. And again, that is really, I mean, to see it in person is one thing, but you can kind of get perspective. You know, if you look at the trees and you can see I'm super far back. You know, first of all, I had this kind of wonderful blurry tree in the foreground here. But then you've got all this sharpness and detail as you go further out into the bush there. And it just kind of gives you an idea of how amazingly massive and vibrant and incredible this sunrise is. Now, my only regret in shooting it this way, this was shot in video, right? As opposed to stitching a time lapse with photos together, is that one, this was clamped to 1920 by 1080. And as good as the D800 video is and was back then, it's like a 24 megabit H.264. You know, unfortunately, you can see that we're just getting some of the noticeable artifacts of that codec, which is kind of giving us those rougher looking edges on the sun, as opposed to if I had taken images in the time lapse, it would have just been perfect and round and all that stuff. But small price to pay to capture something so beautiful. All right, so in any case, if I want to speed this up to fit a shorter duration, now I can do it up to 20,000% faster. And again, this is 8 minutes. So initially when I'd actually done a video with this, I used some really slow music to kind of showcase it. So this is what that sounds like. It's from a record of mine called Music to Design By. And take a quick listen to this. Lovely birds flying by there. Go full screen. Cinema mode. And this is going to take a while. Like, you still see it moving, but it's 8.5 minutes, so it's going to take forever. So here's how easy it is now to speed things up. Now, of course, you can do this right on the clip inside of the timeline here, or you can do it in the effects controls wherever you feel most comfortable. I typically tend to do the time remapping and speed changes right here on the clip because you can see the clip changing in duration as you make those adjustments. So if we wanted to do just a simple global change in time overall to speed this whole thing up, what you're going to do is you're going to right click on or control click on this little effects badge on your clip, and you'll see that it gives you access to some motion parameters that you can edit again in the effects controls, opacity, and then time remapping speed, and that's what we want here. And when you do that, it's going to turn this handle, this envelope here, into a time remapping envelope. All right. So if we want to speed things up globally, right now you can see it also shows a little tooltip here. Just hover back over so you can see that. Current time is at 100%. So again, native speed. All right. Let's go ahead and shrink this up. Now, if you look to, you'll see it'll come into frame here. Do you see this little thing that we're seeing there? So that's showing you right now at, oh, and you can't even see because, hold on, let me, hold on. I want to zoom in so that you can see everything that's happening, but I need to readjust my screen here. Okay, so let me start shifting this up. All right, so there's, you can see the percentages. All right, you're at 200%. What you're seeing to the right of the line there is that's showing you what the new duration of the video will be. So here we are, let's just say, let's do like 1,000%. Okay, so this I think was the previous cutoff, 1,000%. So you can see it's almost right where my cursor is. When I let go, now it shows you that's how long the clip was. But our clip, unfortunately, is still 50 seconds long, right? But let's just take a look at that and to see what that looks like at 1,000%, okay, with this same music here. Saw those birds fly by. Definitely better, definitely more dramatic, but still moving quite slowly at this point. So this is where, again, having more than 1,000% really helps, because in the previous version of Premiere, we would have had to have taken this sequence as it is and now drop it into a new one and do the same thing again, all right? And increase it to whatever it needed to be. And that seems to go by pretty nicely, pretty quickly, but again, now you can just do it all in one step, all right? So let's move this back here. And in fact, we're going to turn that music off. Let's undo our speed change. And now we're going to use some different music for this as well. So what if I wanted this to be, 30 seconds or 20 seconds or whatever that equates to, whatever speed that needs to be? Now I can simply take this and drag it up. All right, and I should have made a marker here of where I wanted 30 seconds to be, but that's okay. So we're just going to eyeball this. Let's go to around... It's going to be super short. Maybe this will even be like 10 seconds. Let's do like 4,000% on this, all right? Move back out. So it is, approximately 12 seconds. Now I've changed the music to some faster music, so take a listen to this. As expected, right? Totally simple, totally easy. Now, again, that's still a little too slow. We really want this to be ultimately maybe 10 seconds. So some of the things that you can do, of course, now we can continue to increase the speed here up to 20,000. And here, I'll just show you that just because I know there's always people like, does it really go to 20,000? All right, so you'll see I can just keep dragging this up. Keep going, keep going. Oh, you're not even seeing the tooltip. Hold on, sorry, I gotta zoom in again. Friggle, gaggle, snickle, snackle. Ugh. It's very hard to coordinate all the zooming so you can see all these little tooltips. Okay, here we go. You can see the percentage. 700, 1,000. All right. This clip, 20,000 is going to be like, a millisecond. But it's going to keep letting me go. You can see 9,000, 10, 11, 12, 20,000. Okay? Two seconds. All right? So down from 8.5 minutes to 2 seconds. Right in the timeline, right on the clip. Super easy, super cool. Okay? Now, as I was mentioning, of course, you can still ramp the speed. So whether you want to, in this case, maybe you want to decrease the speed a little bit, we're speeding it up to fit it all into a duration, but maybe you want to slow things down, or maybe you want to have moments where it's fast, slow, fast, slow. Obviously not every time lapse is going to be a sunrise, okay? So if you want to do that, you can simply hold your command key and you can add a keyframe. Now this is where doing this as well under time remapping here in the effects controls is really handy, because then you can just click on the little keyframe button here as well, and you'll see it drops in a keyframe. Now what's cool about this is you'll notice that you get these little handles here. So these handles will allow you to adjust the duration of your ramp, which I don't know if you can read that tooltip now, but this is approximately 1 second and 20 frames here, give or take. All right, and then maybe we want to slow this down. Okay, so I'm just going to slow it down a little, like that. Clip gets longer because I've slowed time down. And then if I click these handles again, now I can adjust the curve, right? The smoothness of that ramp, just like that. All right, you can see me adjusting that on screen here. And you can have multiple, slow down, speed up, whatever it needs to be. We can slow it down even more here. That wasn't quite dramatic enough. All right, yeah, nice, right? That's cool. All right, let's take this. Let's slow it down even more. So it feels like... Okay. And then we can say, all right, we get to about here, and then maybe we want to just ramp it back up again right as the drums kick in. So I'm going to set my command key again, shrink it up right to about there. Okay. Zoom in a little bit here, and maybe we want to ramp on this, maybe we don't. Either way, it's entirely up to you. Nice and smooth. Wind it back. Okay? Just like that. Super easy, super simple, really effective. Now, it's also worth pointing out there's no change to this part of speed duration, but this is using whatever the default method is, which happens to be frame sampling. Keep in mind we have 3 different speed options in Premiere Pro. Frame sampling, frame blending. Not a fan of that one. There are some instances where it works and looks good. A lot of times, particularly when you're slowing down, you tend to actually see the blended frames. So this one to me doesn't work as well in most cases. Frame sampling by default tends to work really nicely. And then of course there's also optical flow, which is theoretically the most fluid, the most analog, the most organic, but there's certain types of footage that just don't lend themselves to an optical flow type time remap. So it's worth playing around. This one, optical flow, very similar to pixel motion and After Effects, vector-based, pixel-to-pixel redraw of time. It can look absolutely lovely and glorious and wonderful, but it's not for all footage. So you can play around with these and kind of see what the differences are. Frame sampling also, by the way, especially with working with clips and time remapping like this, everything was real time, right? Optical flow, if I turn this on, I'm going to guess the line's going to go red here. Yeah, so typically with optical flow, if you actually want to see performance-wise what it actually looks like, you'll want to render. This will still play. I mean, again, this particular clip, because the sun itself has those artifacts, you know, those sort of that pixelated mess because of just the capture, you're not going to see a massive difference with optical flow anyway. And we're speeding this way, way up. Now, if we were slowing something down, again, maybe optical flow would be a decent choice here. But just to show you that it's a control click, right click, speed duration options, and we'll put it back to frame sampling there. And again, frame sampling, even though it's yellow, plays wonderfully in real time, and that's the one that I will typically use for that. And my friends, that is the new speed ramp feature. Up to 20,000% directly inside of the timeline without having to fuss, without having to make a bunch of nested sequences. It just works. All right? So let's bounce over to our chats and see if anybody's got any questions or comments. Ron Jones, Atlanta in the house. H. Heigl, great to see you again. All right. Squire Player, when are we going to be able to use speed and warp stabilizer on the same clip without having to nest? Aha, yes. That is a feature request. I don't know the tech behind it as to why we can't, but I can tell you that is very high on their list and something that they're absolutely looking to implement. So yeah, stay tuned. I know that can be a little frustrating at times, but we hear that a lot, and we are listening. All right. Goose from Holland, how are you? All right. Josu from Ecuador, Vinit from India, Kershwan, all right. Jonathan Grice, Marco, Konstantinos, Pascal, bonsoir. All right. Looking for some questions here. Notebon, thank you very much. Fabio from Sicily. Keith Owen. Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, it was wonderful shooting that stuff. Pierre Julien. Hello. Always great to see you. Miguel Guzman from Richmond. Fabricio. Happy T. Vincent from Nigeria. Welcome. Ronell, it's been an honor. Well, thank you very much. All right. Lojane, I want to know how to do it like I'm flying. I don't exactly know what you mean there. Antonucci Mannheimer, it would be super baller if you could just type in the new duration. Ah, yes, so you can. In fact, here, I'll just show you. Now, again, this is where you have, oh, let me switch the screen first. You can do that, but you have to do it from within that dialog that I just showed you. So if you go into, whoops, I don't want a new text layer. If you go into the speed duration, you can, in fact, type in the speed here or the actual duration. So let me just, if I were to reset this, let's just reset this entire thing here. Okay. And why is there's no reset for time remap? Really? That seems odd. Okay. Let's just go to 100%. I really could have just typed in 100% there. Okay. So let's just say we're back at our native speed here. All right. From within here, if I go back to speed duration, let's say I just wanted this entire thing to be 10 seconds, you know, or 10 seconds in one frame. So I could type in 10:01 like that, and it'll do just that. And you can see it has now adjusted it. To get it to 10 seconds was a 5,000% stretch, okay? And if we go to the end, it is precisely 10 seconds and one frame. So you can, in fact, type in the durations. The difference is that that's good for sort of a global adjustment versus if you're keyframing the speed ramps and things, it doesn't really apply there. But that's actually a cool feature request if you had a little pop-up where you could type in a duration or something like that. I definitely like that idea. So good, very good question there, Antonucci. All right. All right, and Victor, I think I just answered your question there. All right. Stephen Colby, dope. True. Sonaji, wow, yes. All right. Yeah, and Keith Owen with stabilizer. So yeah, so you still have to do nesting when you involve speed and stabilization, but we're working on that. All right, Emmanuel watching live from Monrovia, Liberia. Very nice to see you. Okay. No additional news on VST AU support. Did you have anything specific, Keith? There's nothing changed. You should be able to still use your VSTs and AUs in Premiere and Audition as always. Regina Costa, export settings. Again, what are you looking for in terms of export? How would I export that, you're asking? Again, depending upon where it's going, you know, if it's going to YouTube, I would probably use one of our YouTube H.264 presets. You know, they're designed to look good on YouTube. They work wonderfully. Halil Adam, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Marlando from Atlanta, Georgia. All right. Victor from Texas. Okay, Paul. I shot a gimbal movement yesterday and wanted to speed it up, but also wanted to know if there's a ghosting or time echo effect that I can apply. So if you use frame blending, now it depends how much time if you're, you know, what sort of things you're doing. The frame blend it's an artifact, but it can give you that sort of ghosting effect. In lieu of that, something that you can try is if you duplicate the layers. So if you duplicate the clip with the speed adjustments and you place them on separate layers and then you use an opacity blend mode and you can shift the time of the two and kind of cut them in and out, you can get a cool sort of ghosted time remapped effect. That's kind of that's an old school way to do it, but blend modes, duplicating the clip and using blend modes works really wonderfully for that. Okay. All right. And yes, Andrew, rate stretch. That's another one, the rate stretch tool. Very good. Okay. Lojan, by using green screen background. Oh, you mean... yes. Okay, well, I can't show you that here, but Lojan, if you go to my YouTube channel, which I'm typing in the chat right now, you will see an 8-minute video. It's one of my shortest ever, also one of my most watched. Wonder if that's a clue. And the video is called, what is it called? It's called something, how to work with the green screen. Just go to my videos. I just posted it in the chat. 8 minutes. It'll show you how to do just that. And it's really easy. Ishak, I love you too. Thank you very much. All right. Victor, nice. Okay. Andreas, will you be doing a session about stabilizing? I'd like to learn a few tricks about how to better stabilize scan cine film. So I've got a couple of those out there, Andreas. You know, the truth is you probably, if you're going to be doing stuff with scanned film, you have a little more flexibility, you have some more options if you use Warp Stabilizer VFX in After Effects. Premiere, I mean, you have some options, but you have some additional options in there, and I can definitely do that in a later stream on the After Effects channel. So that's a great one. I will put it on the list. Danny Johns von Rensburg, what PC are you rocking? Maybe a 32-core plus PC because Premiere. Okay. Well, so I'm using, Danny, a 2017 iMac 5K. So nothing particularly interesting here. It does have the the Radeon 580, which is an 8 gig video card. Again, not massive by today's standard. And it's 64 gigs of RAM with SSDs. So all the media is coming off of SSDs. But outside of that, pretty standard. And this is 1080 footage. Now, you know, again, when I work in 4K, I'm the first to say, you can see on some of my other streams, I use proxies for that. Not that the machine can't handle it, but it just makes the editing smoother. So, and if you haven't updated to 2020, Danny, I would recommend that. It's our whole mantra this release was stability and performance. So hopefully you see some better stuff. Keith asking about machineries and sequencing. Yes. And BPM grids. No updates there, unfortunately, I'm afraid, my friend. But the fight goes on. All right. And yes, Andrew Hurley is reiterating to Paul, AE has pixel-based motion. So again, you can do a lot more in After Effects. And of course, if you want to get really crazy with time remapping and stuff, and you go into the plugin domain, Twixtor, which has been around forever. I'm a huge fan of Twixtor. They're amazing, and they can do great stuff too. All right. Okay. If I want to export to After Effects, it goes frame blending. Well, you can change that. So you can change the method in the export as well. In fact, here I'll show you. If we pull this up, and hold on, I'll switch my screen for you as well. All right, just bounce back over here. Good questions today, everyone. Thank you for being vocal and present. So here we are in, so this is just, you know, the export dialog in Premiere. In this case, I just happen to be going to QuickTime, but you'll see the same option regardless of encoding format. And down all the way at the bottom, you'll see that you have time interpolation, and you can choose whatever method you want to use for the export. Okay, but that's specific to, excuse me, the whole sequence as well. So you'll always see this option there. But in terms of what method you're using for time remapping, like I said, I mean, maybe if you like frame blending, use frame blending. I typically will use the other available options there. Okay. Okay, and then you can also set that on the After Effects side as well. Okay. Thank you very much, Lo. Appreciate that. Yep. All right. Andrew, thank you very much. Keith, the fight goes on. All right, Antonucci. And yes, we are listening. So, you know, that's why I'm out here doing these things, and I truly appreciate all of you visiting me on this Wednesday. Let's bounce over to YouTube, see if we got tons of stuff going on over there. All right. Nice. Okay. Appreciate that, Peter. Thank you. Conrad, when is there a speed ramp shortcut coming? Oh, you know, I don't know if that's among one of the assignable. I wonder if that's something that you can assign. Yeah. I don't know if you meant just to access the panel. So, you know, there is one already just to access the speed duration panel. So it's just Command R or whatever command is in Windows. I always forget. Is that the Windows key, I guess? I don't know if you're asking something outside of just that function. Oh, you couldn't just see that, did you? Duh, sorry. Here you go. So it's already here under keyboard shortcuts. But again, I don't know if you meant to do something else in there, you can let me know. All right. Any updates for stabilization and rotoscope in 2020? No updates for those just yet. I know we're doing some stuff with Warp Stabilizer for future releases, so there will be, but nothing just yet. Okay? Squire Player, do you see any difference when you interpret footage to a different frame rate compared to using the speed options? For example, slowing a clip down 50% compared to changing it from 5994 to 2997. Yeah. So there are times. Yes, no. If for instance, like if I've got footage that's shot, at high frame rate, and I want it to play super slow in a 24 frame timeline consistently, and I know whether it's 60 FPS, 120, 240, or some other fraction thereof, I will typically use the interpret method, because then I know exactly what I'm going to get. It's a one-time change, and then if I need to ramp things after the fact, I can always do that in the timeline. So if it's just a straight, I'm taking 60 or 120 or like 240 from the iPhone, but I want it to play back in a 24-frame timeline at a tenth the speed, I'll do it as an interpret. It also tends to have less, and this could just be me, but I've looked at like sort of CPU monitoring. When you do the interpolation or interpretation of time, it's a little less load on the CPU, in my experience, versus the time remap, because obviously it's having to, that's why you see that little render bar there, right? So yeah, if it's going to be a global change, I'll usually use the interpret method. If I'm doing anything that has some kind of a ramp or change in speed, I'll do it in the timeline on the clip. DP Ghost, thank you very much. Love you too. Kristen Chinks from Rwanda, nice to see you. Okay. All right. And let's see if we've got any things coming in on Twitter Periscope here. All right, Ryan Toe, GMO, Mark Kendrick, Soul Theater, Baked in a Pie, RV Cinder Pablo, Skullcharo, NYC Jungle. We got a lot of people. All right, nice. Thanks. Great to see you all. Okay. All right. Conrad, so in timeline, it's not on transparent. Is there a shortcut coming? Oh, I see what you're saying. Is there a shortcut to change the method on the clip in the timeline? Yeah, that I don't know. That's a good feature request. And here, I put in user voice all the time. It might already be in there, but I highly recommend submitting a feature request under Adobe User Voice. Squire Player, you're very welcome. Thank you. All right. Dave K. Helmley, nice to see you as well. And then, of course, there is Time Tuner. Now, that's great. And actually, this is something really cool. So you're looking at speed ramping and you're thinking, okay, I'm doing this on a clip-to-clip basis. But what if I have another issue? What if, let me switch over to my screen. What if I've got this 10-second thing or whatever, but I need this to be 9 seconds and 23 frames. And I just, or whatever it is, let's 10 seconds and a frame is too little. Let's say I need this to be 9 seconds and 6 frames. And I can't cut out any frame. I mean, again, sunrise is a weird example, but I've got something that I've already changed time duration to, and I just need it to be a very specific duration. Case in point, broadcasters, I need this to be 22 minutes and 14 frames, or 21 minutes and 23 frames, or 29 minutes and 28 frames if it's 29.97, whatever it may be. You can fuss about with time remapping. You can do that on individual clips. Of course, you got to adjust audio as well, fade outs, all these things that you don't really want to do. There is another way, and something that I've shown on a couple of different streams here, but this one makes sense because we're talking about time, and it is called the Time Tuner. This is one of those slightly undiscovered features in Premiere, which is why I've done streams on it in the past, because you just don't always get a chance to see it. Okay, hold on. I don't know what we're looking at here. Let me just go to, so let's pretend like I'm going to export this to YouTube. So under the Effects tab inside of your export dialog, you know, we have all these things that you can do. So you can add LUTs on your clips. So this is great for if you're doing rushes or dailies and, you know, you've got everything in slog3, but you don't want to show it to the client that way. This is a really easy way, you know, on export to add a LUT or something. Ooh, Gold Western, that looks very nice on that clip too. All right, nice, okay. So you have the ability to add LUTs, SDR conform, image overlays, name overlays, time code overlays, right? You know, name of clips and such, all these different things that you can do. And then towards the bottom, there's something here called Time Tuner. And this is one of those, this is one of those game changer features because this can really save the day, particularly if you're just a few frames off. You know, like I said, you're at 30 minutes, but it needs to be 29 minutes and 20 frames. And you're like, I can't cut any more frames out. I don't know what to do. This allows you to do just that. So how do you use it? It's very simple. Oh, sorry, I just scrolled away from it. It's very simple. So it shows you the current duration, okay? Now you've got two ways to use it. You can either say target duration. So again, let's say for this, it needs to be, you know, 8 minutes and 4 seconds and 0 frames. I can type in an absolute time and then it'll automatically adjust that duration for me. Or I can use this duration slider and it gives you up to 10% up or down in terms of time. So if we, at most, we could take this and bring it down to 7 minutes, 20 seconds, 6 frames, or 8 minutes, 58 seconds, and 2 frames. Now, in terms of shaving frames off, what this is doing, the genius here, is that it's looking at areas of inactivity, all right, where there's simply no motion. So again, a time lapse with a sunrise is kind of a weird thing, although there are moments probably where there's not a significant amount of movement. Premiere identifies those frames where there's no movement and it takes them out for you. Okay, so in the case of like an episodic show or something where again, you've got to shave off 15 frames off of this 22-minute piece, and where am I going to find them? This does it automatically. So magically. And then you can see you have an option here to set in preset target duration or duration change. And we want duration change for this. That's probably most of the time what you're going to do. Although again, perhaps target duration is what you're looking for. We can go back to this, you know, 840 like that, okay? And it does exactly that, okay? Super cool. So Time Tuner, one of those little lost hidden gems. Also, just under Time Tuner, this is not related to, so there's also our new video limiter, which is better, much more reliable, and you can actually bank on it this time. But there's also loudness normalization. And this is wonderful because again, now you've got broadcast compliance in terms of your duration and or colors with the video limiter. Now you can also add broadcast compliant audio on export. So you've done your mix, everything sounds fine. You've tried to mix it to standards using all the various tools we have in Premiere, but you just want to ensure that this conforms to the EBU R128 -23 LUFS broadcast standard. You can do that right here, set it and forget it. And it will export that, and it will absolutely follow that EBU standard, or the ITU standard, or the ATSC standard. And if you choose ITU, you also have the option here to modify all of these. So let's say that we were doing something that's going to be, you know, it doesn't have to follow US, European, Asia broadcast standards, but you want everything to be -16 LUFS. You can do that right here. All right, and now it'll match to a target loudness of -16, which is pretty awesome. So Time Tuner, video limiter, and loudness normalizer here in the effects tab of the export dialog are super useful tools that, you know, honestly, even for me on the few times I've had to do stuff at very specific lengths, it was a lifesaver. All right. All right, Andrew Hurley, has Premiere team considered in-app presets manager? Oh yeah, you know, we hear this a lot, and Dave knows, my colleague Dave Helmley who's watching. Yeah, you know, we're I'm hoping we'll see at some point in the future. In fact, I know we're doing a lot of stuff, and we're always adding new things in terms of collaboration. I too would love to see the preset management be a little bit easier. We've made it better in the past, and now with like importing presets and things, it's a little bit better, but it can always be better. All right. All right. Yep, and Dave, as Dave pointed out, it also looks for dead air sound, long pauses, smart trims. All right. Perfect for broadcast rundowns. Yes, indeed. All right. Very cool. All right, my friends. Well, that is all the time I have today. So thank you so much for joining me. Of course, you'll be able to watch the replay on Facebook, on Twitter Periscope, on YouTube, and on Behance. We will not be streaming tomorrow and Friday, as it is our Thanksgiving shutdown in the US here at Adobe. So I won't see you tomorrow or Friday, but I'll be back on the stream right here on the Premiere Pro Facebook page on Monday. So until then, have a great rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are in the world, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye-bye.